Good morning and welcome back to the channel. As always, my name is Mike. This is my 2019 Dodge Charger Scatpack, and today we are going to do an oil change. If you haven't seen my last video, the 5 things that I hate about this vehicle, one of the things that I said I hated was the maintenance cost. When I went to the dealership and asked them what it was going to cost, they wanted $110 plus tax to do an oil change. And they said it was because this car took 0W40 full synthetic oil was the reason for it to be so expensive. I was able to go to the store myself and I got each one of these jugs was $22.88. This car does only take 7 quarts of oil. I know I've got 10, but it was just a lot cheaper to do it this way than to buy the individual quarts. The individual quarts were almost $9 a piece. So I went ahead and got the 2 quarts, or the 2 5-quart jugs instead. I think the filter here was, I think it was $8.99. I think it came out to be like $54.75 all together. So that's less than half than what they wanted at the dealership. I mean, really, I guess if you think about it, the only difference in the price would be the labor, and of course they got to make a little money so that they can keep the shop open. But still, I was not going to pay $110 for an oil change. So like I said, you'll need 7 quarts of oil, 1 oil filter. Of course, you'll need a catch jug, a jack, a towel just in case you make a mess, because it seems like every time I do this I always make a mess. A funnel to put it back in. You will need a 10mm socket, as there is, I want to call it a skid plate, but it ain't metal, it's plastic, so I think it's just there for fuel mileage and aerodynamics. So we'll get down there, we'll take the stuff off, and we'll go from there. So let me get the camera set up, we'll take the skid plate off, and we'll get going. Alright, so it does look like there are 4 bolts to remove to get this little skid plate off. So we'll go ahead and get that done. Alright, so we got our drain plug is a 13mm. We get our catch pan in position here, and we'll go ahead and loosen this drain plug. Maybe. Ow. This is gonna make a mess, it always does, but it is what it is. Put your drain plug back there just for safekeeping. Alright, now that your oil has all drained out, I always clean my drain plug off. I don't want all that nastiness underneath my car or in my garage. Wipe everything off. Reinstall. One thing you want to make sure you don't do is over tighten your drain plug. That is the last thing you want to do, is to mess up them threads on your drain plugs. Then you got to replace your whole oil pan, and that is not a good day. So you just want it to be tight enough that it doesn't leak, but not too tight. That'll be good enough. That is the drain plug reinstalled. Alright, so we are now at the front of the vehicle. As you can see here, you just come back just a little bit, and just across from the drain plug is the oil filter right here. So you want to get that off. Make sure you got your drain pan close by, because you're going to make a mess with this also. Now normally whenever you're doing this, you can use a oil filter wrench, but the ones I have, I've got 2 of them and they're both too small. So I'm gonna try to use these gloves. Man. My goodness. I had that on there entirely too tight. There's no reason for that. Do that, let all that drain out, and then we'll get the new one, prime it, and put it on. All right, so the next thing you want to do, you want to get your oil filter out. You want to turn it up, and you want to put a little bit of your oil in your filter to prime it. So that way, the first time you start your engine after your oil change is done, you're not waiting for this to get filled up with oil. Meanwhile, your engine's running without getting any fresh oil to it. I mean, it may not be that detrimental, it may not be that long, but they recommend you do it. I mean, you never want to run your oil or your engine without oil in it. So we'll go ahead, we'll get a little bit of this filled up, and then we'll go ahead and install it. All right, we got that going. Put this back in a safe place so we don't drop it, make a mess. And we will get underneath the car and reinstall the oil filter. Oh, one more thing I forgot also. You also want to take a little bit of this oil. You want to rub it around this seal. So that way when you reinstall the oil filter, that rubber gasket doesn't grab the bottom and pinch. And then if it does, then you'll have a leak and you won't know it, you know, till you have a mess on your garage or your driveway or whatever. And nobody wants to deal with that kind of mess. So always remember to put a little oil around that ring. It'll save you a lot of trouble in the future. All right, so you're back under here. You got everything, you got it cleaned up, wiped down, no oil drips, leaks, anything. You just go ahead, line this up, and reinstall. It's pretty simple. Maybe this is why I had that so tight. There's a big gap. All right, I'm gonna have to get them gloves and use that to get that reinstalled. I have done many oil changes in my life on a lot of different cars, and I have never had an oil filter that fit this tight. I mean, this is crazy. Oh, I don't understand it. So I would definitely recommend investing in an oil wrench or an oil filter wrench, because my God. Get that out of the way. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. All right. Now that we got that back on, that should be good there. And then once you get your oil back in, you get your car running, you will definitely want to come back down here and just make sure that this is not leaking, because that is the quickest way of ruining your car. All right, so now that we have the oil drained, the oil filter replaced, now we'll come up to the engine bay and you will take off your cap right here and you will fill with 7 quarts of oil. Now I know that I believe that the manual calls for Pennzoil Platinum, but I've always been a Mobil guy. I don't know why, that's just always what I've used. I've never had a problem, no issues. So, it's just my choice. Now, if you didn't know, some do, some don't. But when you buy these jugs, they are marked here on the side. I don't know if you can read it or not, but right there. And then each one of these marks is a quart, and then from here up to the top is the 5th. So whatever you're filling, we just want to bring it down to this line. Sorry, this line here, and then we'll know we'll have the 7 quarts that are required. Definitely don't want to overfill. I mean, a little overfill is okay. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. But you don't want to have multiple quarts more. It is really bad for your motor. All right, there we go. We've got our 7 quarts of oil. Like I said, when you're done, get your line. Get your line right there. We are right at it. So 7 quarts of fresh oil in. You want to take your funnel out. You want to clean it up so you ain't making a mess everywhere. Sorry, I'm bouncing you everywhere, dropping everything. And clean that up. I said, set this back off to the side. Make sure you reinstall your cap. That'd be disastrous. You'd be surprised how many people do that. They get busy, they're not thinking about what they're doing, and bam. So, like everything else, clean your mess up. You don't want to leave that behind. Look terrible. So there's your oil change. Everything's in. The only thing left now is we'll get in the car. We'll reset the light. Then we'll start the car. Make sure there's no. Make sure all the warning lights are out. Make sure the oil pressure and everything's good. And then we'll lower the car and put the skid plate back on. Lower the car, and then we'll be done. All right. So now, like I said, we've got the oil cap on tight. Now we'll get in the car, get it started, and then we'll check and make sure there's no leaks. Make sure that we don't have any warning lights. We're here. Everything's up. Vehicle info. We'll reset that in just a minute. Oil pressure's up. So everything looks good on the inside. So now we'll get underneath the car, make sure we got no leaks, and then we'll come back in and reset that oil light button. So we'll come back, get underneath the car again. Make sure we got no leaks. Filter. Sorry guys. No leaks around the drain plug. No leaks around the oil filter. So we're good to go. So we'll get back in, we'll reset that oil light, and then we'll get on here for the last time and reinstall that skid plate. All right, and now, once you're inside the vehicle, in order to get the oil life reset, you want to turn the engine to on or run without actually starting the car. And then you want to go to the vehicle info, go to where your oil life is, and you just hold OK, and it goes back to 100%. Now, that will not do that if the car is running or if it's in accessory. It has to be set to run in the run position with the car off, and that will reset your oil life monitoring system. All right, now that we're almost complete with our oil change, I'm not going to bore you with the rest. Don't forget to put your skid plate back on, put those 4 screws back in, check your oil level, and also when you get done, everybody always asks what to do with the used oil. Almost every place you buy oil from, whether it be Walmart, AutoZone, any of the national chains, O'Reilly's, whoever, almost all of those places will accept your used oil so that it can be recycled. That is the best thing to do with it. I mean, that's what's recommended. They can recycle it, reuse it, and the best thing for the environment. So we'll get everything done. If you found this video informative at all, helped you out, you know somebody that'll help, please like, comment, subscribe, and share this with your friends if they need help. And until next time, have a great day.